You've always been different, haven't you? Even if you didn't have the language for it yet, people reacted to you in strange ways. Some were drawn to you instantly, feeling a sense of peace they couldn't explain. Others were irritated by your presence for no reason at all. That wasn't about your personality. That wasn't about what you wore, how you spoke, or what you did. It was something deeper, something ancient, something invisible but undeniable. Chosen one, you don't smell like them, not in the natural but in the spirit. Your fragrance has always betrayed your destiny. You carry a scent that doesn't come from cologne or soap. It comes from calling. It comes from consecration. The scent of someone who has been in the presence of God. And that, beloved, is spiritual warfare in itself. You've probably walked into rooms and watched conversations shift. You've entered spaces where tension suddenly stirred. That wasn't just intuition. That was your frequency introducing itself before your words ever arrived. You are a carrier of a supernatural scent, and it tells the truth even when people don't want to hear it. People sense something they can't name. That's why some try to mimic you. Others try to discredit you. But underneath it all, it's not envy of your image. It's reaction to your aroma. You smell like assignment. You smell like purity. You smell like someone the heavens have already marked, and hell has been trying to block. The Bible says in 2 Corinthians 2:15, "For we are to God the pleasing aroma of Christ among those who are being saved and those who are perishing." That's not metaphor, that's identity. You were created to carry a scent that reveals heaven's touch. The angels recognize it, demons flee from it, and the spiritually dull are offended by it because it exposes everything fake, everything performative, everything demonic hiding in plain sight. That's why you've been misunderstood. That's why certain people couldn't stand to be close to you. They weren't reacting to your behavior, they were reacting to your fragrance. And chosen one, don't let anyone convince you to tone it down. You didn't make yourself smell like this. Heaven did. You're not trying to stand out. You were set apart. You weren't trying to shine. You were ignited. So when people say something about you is too much, understand. They're confessing, not criticizing. They're telling on their own inability to digest your frequency. Because the anointing you carry isn't just visual, it's atmospheric. It shifts air, it triggers spirits, it awakens angels, and it signals to the supernatural realm. A vessel of glory just arrived, so stop trying to blend in. You were never made to match their scent. You're marked, you're holy, you're heaven's incense wrapped in skin, and that's why everything around you is about to change. Long before you were called by any name, before your family chose your identity, before the world labeled you with roles and expectations, heaven had already assigned you a scent. In the spirit realm, you were never nameless. You were never unknown. You were already releasing a fragrance that angels could recognize and demons could not ignore. Chosen one, even before you knew yourself, your essence was testifying on your behalf. The cry of your newborn lungs wasn't just sound, it was scent. And that scent reached the throne room like a signal fire from earth. You didn't ask for it. You didn't create it. You were born with it. It was woven into your spirit. The aroma of destiny, the scent of divine recognition. You see, the spiritual realm doesn't rely on what earth considers identity. It doesn't wait for birth certificates or popularity. It moves by sound, by light, and yes, by fragrance. The fragrance of a soul that's been kissed by purpose. The Bible says in Psalm 139:16, "Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." That means God wrote your story before you were ever introduced to the world. And part of that story, the scent you would carry, the one that would surround you like invisible armor, the one that would repel danger, attract divine connections, and alert angels when you're in need. That's why you felt misunderstood early. That's why certain people responded to you with unexpected emotion, either drawn in or deeply offended. You carried something they didn't have language for. You carried a spiritual signal their spirit didn't know how to interpret. Your scent activated their memory, not the earthly kind, but the spiritual one. Somewhere deep in their soul, they recognized something ancient about you, and it confused them, or convicted them, or made them feel seen in a way they weren't ready for. That wasn't charm, that wasn't intuition, that was your fragrance speaking. And still, to this day, you don't need a stage to shift an atmosphere. You don't need a microphone to prophesy. You don't even need to speak to make someone's spirit feel exposed, because you carry what few people on earth understand, a heaven-etched aroma of purpose. The enemy tried to cover it, through pain, through trauma, through generational curses. But it didn't work. You're still releasing it, even when you feel low, even when you feel unseen. The scent of your spirit is still rising like incense before the Father. So understand this, chosen one. Before you were anything else, you were marked. Before you could walk, you were already radiating the aroma of alignment. You were chosen before you had words, before you had wounds, before you had wins. Your smell was never about this world. It was about what heaven saw in you before time began. From the moment your spirit released that first fragrance into the atmosphere, hell took notice. You didn't know it, but you were marked, not just for favor, but for warfare. The enemy caught wind of your aroma early. He could smell your future in your now. That's why the attacks didn't wait until you were grown. They started in childhood, before you had strength, before you had language, before you even understood what warfare was. Because in the realm of the spirit, your scent had already prophesied your arrival, and the enemy began his assignment: contaminate the vessel, distort the frequency, mute the fragrance. Chosen one, there are things you went through that weren't about punishment. They were about prevention. The devil wasn't trying to destroy your joy. He was trying to distort your smell. He sent people into your life to manipulate your innocence. He used trauma to stain your oil. He used heartbreak to wrap you in spiritual toxins. And every time you thought it was about what they did to you, it was actually about what they were trying to take from you, your scent. Because your smell is more than atmosphere. It's access. It opens doors in the spirit. It shifts rooms in the natural. It speaks when you're silent. And hell couldn't afford for you to know that. That's why he tried to bury you in shame. Shame alters how you carry yourself. It makes you doubt your value. But deeper than that, it makes you reject the very fragrance heaven placed on you. He wanted you to associate your scent with pain, to make you believe you were the problem, that you were too intense, too sensitive, too much. But what you were calling too much was actually your spiritual scent resisting their strongholds. You weren't the issue, you were the exposure. And the darkness tried to silence you by clouding your aroma with fear, confusion, and compromise. But here's what the enemy forgot. God preserves what he anoints. Isaiah 43:2 says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. The rivers will not sweep over you." That means no trauma, no betrayal, no warfare was ever strong enough to erase your scent. It may have gotten buried under layers of life, but it never disappeared. You're not starting over. You're being restored. You're not creating something new. You're rediscovering what was always there. And with every healing moment, every surrender, every tear shed in prayer, your fragrance is rising again. So, if you've ever wondered why your journey felt harder than others, why the enemy came for your childhood, your voice, your purity, your presence, it's because of your frequency. He was terrified of what it would become once you fully aligned, but it's too late now. You're awakening, and your scent is returning. And when it does, Everything tied to your destiny will begin to locate you, because heaven never stopped smelling you. In the natural world, scent is subtle. You don't see it, but you sense it. You don't touch it, but you remember it. That's exactly how it works in the spirit, but with even more power. Chosen one, you carry a scent in the unseen realm, and it speaks louder than your voice ever could. You don't have to introduce yourself. You don't need credentials or connections. Your fragrance tells the truth about who you are and where you've been. Heaven knows it, hell fears it, and every spiritual gate recognizes when you walk into the room, because your smell isn't natural, it's prophetic. In the spirit, scent functions like a seal. It confirms your assignment. It confirms your access. It tells angels what you're authorized to do. It tells demons what lines they're not allowed to cross. That's why spiritual warfare intensifies around you for no visible reason. That's why certain people can't even look you in the eye. They're not reacting to your face, they're reacting to your frequency. You smell like someone who's been in the presence of the Most High, and that scent stirs the atmosphere. It convicts what's fake. It irritates what's demonic. It awakens what's holy. In Exodus 30, God gave Moses a specific formula for the sacred incense to be used in the temple. And he said no one else could wear it. Why? Because scent signifies access. Fragrance reveals proximity. And heaven doesn't allow imposters to mimic the aroma of those who are truly anointed. You, chosen one, carry that kind of aroma, the kind only God can place, the kind only obedience can preserve. It's not something you bought, it's something you were born with. And when you walk in alignment, that scent rises like incense before the throne. That's also why some environments reject you, not because of who you are, but because of what your scent awakens. You walk into a space and unhealed things start to squirm. Spirits that were dormant start to react. Chains that were camouflaged start to rattle. You don't even have to speak. You just breathe. And the atmosphere starts to shift. Because your smell tells the truth. It reveals things people have buried. It reminds demons of what they tried to delay. And it alerts angels that it's time to move. So stop underestimating your presence. You've walked into places thinking you were insignificant, but your fragrance had already gone before you. And now you're starting to understand why doors opened or slammed shut, why people stared or scattered, why children smiled or spirits stirred. You were leaking glory without even knowing it. Chosen one, your smell in the spirit realm is real. It's potent, it's pure, it's proof of your connection to heaven. And now that you know, you'll never walk into another room the same again. Stop blaming yourself for who walked away. Stop replaying the moments, wondering what you said wrong, how you could have fixed it, what version of yourself they might have stayed for. The truth is, chosen one, they weren't leaving you. They were fleeing your fragrance. There are people who couldn't sit in your presence because your scent told a truth they were trying to hide. You exposed things without saying a word. Your spirit was too clean, your frequency too high, and your smell, that sacred, heaven-etched aroma, made their demons uncomfortable. You weren't rejected, you were revealed. You carry a smell in the spirit realm that agitates anything fake, anything that's not aligned, anything sent as a distraction, a test, or a counterfeit. That's why the ones who came to use you eventually pulled back. That's why the ones who tried to manipulate you couldn't maintain control. You smelled like someone who wouldn't be tricked forever, someone whose prayers leave residue, someone whose forgiveness leaves evidence. And it scared them, because when you carry heaven's scent, you force people to confront whether they still carry hell's residue. The Bible says in 2 Corinthians 2:16, "To the one, we are an aroma that brings death. To the other, an aroma that brings life." That means some people will breathe you in and come alive. Others will breathe you in and feel exposed. Your scent doesn't just carry peace, it carries confrontation. The confrontation of truth, the confrontation of conviction, and not everyone is ready for that kind of encounter. So they distance themselves, they ghost you, they sabotage the connection before it has a chance to grow. Not because you were too much, but because they weren't ready to change. And sometimes, chosen one, God allows it. He lets them leave, because your scent was only meant to activate, not to keep. Some people were meant to be interrupted by your frequency, not to walk with you forever. Their assignment was temporary, their presence was seasonal, and their exit was protection. You weren't abandoned, you were preserved. If they had stayed longer, their confusion could have tainted your clarity. Their spiritual stagnation could have contaminated your oil. And heaven said, no. This fragrance is too rare to be risked, so when people leave without reason, let them go. When relationships dissolve without closure, release them, because your scent is only increasing now. The more you heal, the more fragrant you become. The more you align, the more your presence testifies. And only those assigned to your purpose can walk with you through that kind of elevation. Everyone else will self-select out, not because you failed, but because your smell reminded them of who they refused to become. You didn't lose them. You were delivered, and your scent made the decision for you. You didn't just come to earth with breath in your lungs, you came marked with incense in your spirit. Before you took your first steps, before you spoke your first words, heaven had already perfumed your existence with a sacred oil. You didn't earn it, you didn't request it, you were sealed in it. Chosen one, the fragrance you carry is not of this world. It smells like prayer, it smells like covenant, it smells like someone who was whispered about in heavenly chambers long before they were introduced to earthly rooms. The incense that surrounds you isn't symbolic, it's spiritual technology, it's divine signal. It tells the spirit realm who you belong to. In Exodus 30:34-38, God gave Moses exact instructions for creating holy incense, not just for worship, but for access. It was never to be duplicated, never to be commercialized. It was sacred, and it was reserved for those who had been in the inner place. That's the scent on you. That's why your presence shifts environments even when you try to stay quiet. You've been marked with a fragrance that can't be copied. That's why the imitators fall short. That's why your anointing can't be replicated through mimicry. Heaven knows what it smells like when you walk in a room, and so does hell. You've been wondering why people respond to you so strongly, why strangers open up, why children cling to you, why broken people feel peace when you're around. It's the incense. It carries memory, it carries presence, and it lingers long after you leave. You walk out, but your scent stays behind. It clings to the air, it wraps around the atmosphere, and it testifies silently, a vessel of oil was here. That's not charisma, that's consecration. You've been perfumed with purpose, and the world doesn't know what to do with it. But understand, this incense comes with responsibility, because the more it's activated, the more it disrupts. You're not just carrying a pleasant smell, you're carrying the aroma of heaven's agenda, and that makes you a disruptor, a revealer, a walking temple. And not everyone can survive that kind of nearness. Some will love you for it, others will blame you for the discomfort it stirs in them. But their reaction isn't your responsibility. Your responsibility is to stay fragrant, stay obedient, stay pure, stay in alignment. Because when your heart is clean, your incense intensifies. When your spirit is surrendered, your oil flows stronger. And the more fragrant you become, the more heaven moves in your favor. You were never meant to go unnoticed. You were never made to blend in. You were anointed to linger, like the smoke of holy incense curling around the Ark of the Covenant, announcing that glory has entered the room. Chosen one, you are marked, not with man-made perfume, but with the oil of heaven sealed into your soul, rising even now. And the world is about to smell you differently. Ever wonder why some doors flung open before you even knocked? Why certain people welcomed you like they'd known you forever? Why places you'd never been treated you like a long-awaited guest? It wasn't coincidence. It wasn't luck. It was sent. Chosen one, your fragrance preceded you. Before your hand reached for the doorknob, your spirit had already introduced itself. The aroma on you, that divine incense sealed into your essence, unlocked things no resume, no strategy, no connection ever could. Your scent didn't just enter a room, it announced you. There are atmospheres that responded to you instantly because your smell matched something ancient, something sacred, something heaven-coded. It wasn't you they were responding to. It was what you carried, the oil, the fragrance, the memory of God's fingerprint, the scent of someone who's been through fire but didn't burn, someone who's been through rejection but didn't lose their purity, someone who smells like surrender. That scent triggers recognition in people you've never met because their spirit remembers something their mind can't yet explain. The Bible tells us in 2 Corinthians 2:14, He uses us to spread the aroma of the knowledge of Him everywhere. That means you're not just walking through life, you're spreading something, you're leaving evidence. Every room you've walked into has been changed because your fragrance has settled there. Your smell reorders things. It softens hardened hearts. It exposes hidden agendas. It even reminds people of what they buried, their own calling, their own oil, their own hunger. That's why some people clung to you and why others ran, because your scent activated something dormant inside them. And for the ones who opened doors without hesitation, don't assume it was about you being charming. They were drawn by the scent of alignment. Something in your frequency told them, help this one, protect this one, walk with this one. And they obeyed, even if they didn't fully understand why. That's divine favor. That's what it looks like when your incense is still rising and heaven is directing your steps, not by manipulation, not by striving, just by scent. Chosen one, you're not striving for opportunities, you're attracting them. You're not chasing favor, you're radiating it. Because your obedience has released a fragrance that magnetizes the right rooms, the right people, the right moments. So don't be surprised when new doors open effortlessly. That's not random. That's heaven remembering its mark on you. That's the oil doing what it was created to do. Speak when you don't have to. Shift things before you arrive and announce to the atmosphere, a vessel of purpose is coming. You were never meant to fight for every opening. Some doors respond simply because they've smelled you before, and now they know you're ready. They didn't just want to hurt you, they wanted to stain you. They wanted to interrupt your purity, distort your frequency, and mask your scent. Chosen one, the attacks you went through weren't just emotional. They were spiritual contamination attempts. The enemy wasn't just trying to distract you, he was trying to cloak you in things that didn't belong to you. Because if he could distort your aroma, he could delay your access. If he could alter your scent, he could confuse the rooms you were called to. You see, your smell speaks in the spirit. And hell's plan was simple: silence your scent. That's why certain relationships were sent into your life. They looked like love, but they carried toxins. They looked like fun, but they brought contamination. People sent with charm, but carrying chains. Situations dressed as opportunity, but soaked in compromise. From unhealthy habits to spiritual soul ties, every attack was designed to fog up your frequency, to cloak your glory with residue, because as long as you smelled like heaven, hell couldn't touch you. So it had to get you to wear something else. Guilt, shame, bitterness, lust, addiction, anything that could veil your true essence and muffle your incense. But it didn't work. Isaiah 61:3 says, "He gives you beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and a garment of praise for a spirit of heaviness." That means what the enemy tried to cloak you with, heaven is replacing with oil. The fragrance of your original design is being restored. And every time you chose healing over hatred, purity over pettiness, surrender over self-destruction, your scent got stronger. The incense rose again. The smoke of worship reclaimed what trauma tried to steal. The truth is, they weren't after your personality. They were after your purity, because your scent was proof that you hadn't bowed, proof that your soul still belonged to the throne room. You didn't look like what you went through, and you didn't smell like it either. That's why they couldn't understand you. That's why they kept trying to break you. If they couldn't carry your oil, they wanted to make sure you didn't either. But heaven blocked it. God stepped in. He preserved the part of you that still smells like alignment. Chosen one, the reason you felt spiritual detox happening lately, sudden convictions, deep weeping, a pull to isolate and go deeper, is because God is restoring your frequency. He's cleansing the layers, washing away the residue, reawakening your fragrance. And it's already working. You've noticed how certain people can't stay around you anymore, how old cravings feel foreign, how old atmospheres feel heavy. That's not rejection, that's purification. They tried to contaminate you, but heaven re-anointed you, and your scent is about to reintroduce you as the one they couldn't shut down. There's a reason some people feel safe when you're near, a reason they open up without knowing why, a reason they breathe easier, rest deeper, or suddenly cry in your presence. Chosen one, it's not your advice, it's not your energy, it's your scent. You smell like home, not the one they grew up in, but the one their soul remembers. You carry the fragrance of where they came from before the pain, before the betrayal, before the spiritual amnesia set in. Your scent reminds them of God's original blueprint for their life. It calls them back to alignment. You've been wondering why strangers are drawn to you, why people overshare in grocery lines, why children gravitate toward you like a magnet. It's your aroma. Your scent is carrying peace in a way words can't. It's not forced. It's not manufactured. It's residue. From prayers you forgot you prayed, from healing you earned in silence, from glory that clings to those who've been in the secret place. Psalm 133 verse 2 says, "It is like precious oil poured on the head, running down on Aaron's beard." That means when you're truly anointed, it drips, it transfers, it follows you, and those close enough will feel it or smell it. And for some people, your scent is a lifeline. It reaches into their brokenness and reminds them they are not beyond restoration. It interrupts their chaos with the fragrance of peace. It disrupts their numbness with the scent of something real. You don't even realize it, but you're walking into rooms carrying healing in your pores. Your very presence is therapy. Your silence is sanctuary. You smell like something they've been missing but couldn't name, and that's not charisma. That's calling. There are people who are still thinking about a single moment with you, not because of what you said, but because of what they felt. That moment lingered. That peace stayed. That scent of safety followed them long after you left. You don't realize it yet, but your smell is planting memory into souls. Memory of divine love, memory of clarity, memory of home. You're awakening what trauma buried, and the enemy hates that about you. But it's not your job to make them understand. It's your job to stay fragrant, because when you carry the aroma of glory, you will become a resting place for weary spirits. Not everyone will thank you, not everyone will stay, but those who need what you carry will never forget what it felt like to be near you. They will remember the scent. because in a world that's filled with noise and performance, your smell is rare and real. Chosen one, you smell like home to the hurting, like hope to the grieving, like light to the wandering. And heaven made you that way on purpose. Something shifted when you stopped running, when you started healing, when you chose alignment instead of hiding. You thought it was just an emotional breakthrough, but in the spirit realm, something far more powerful happened. Your scent intensified, and that scent did what few things on earth can do. It reactivated angels that were waiting. Chosen one, you carry a fragrance that doesn't just affect people or places. It commands the attention of heaven's army. Your scent woke up sleeping angels. These weren't absent angels. They were assigned ones, guardians stationed over your life, carriers of your next. But heaven is legal, and they don't move on chaos. They move on covenant. So while you wandered, while you doubted, while you wore the residue of compromise, they stayed close, but still, waiting for the signal, waiting for the shift, waiting for the scent that proves they're ready now. And that moment you chose purity over performance, surrender over survival, silence over noise, the fragrance began to rise again. Hebrews 1:14 says, "Are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation?" That means they're not just present, they're active when your alignment activates them. Your scent in the spirit isn't just identification, it's authorization. It releases instructions, it sends messages, it tells angelic forces that the vessel is cleared, the route is open, the heart is ready. And suddenly, what was delayed begins to move again. Not because you did more, but because you remembered who you are. Some of you are in a season where things feel like they're accelerating, where connections are happening fast, where favor is finding you in places you didn't knock. That's not coincidence. That's the result of a fragrance that was buried now rising. And every time your obedience increases, the scent grows stronger. It draws in divine help. It signals heaven's army. And angels that were once standing still begin to fly toward your assignment with new orders. But here's the mystery. The enemy knows this too. That's why temptation increases right before breakthrough. That's why old habits, old people, old cycles show up just as your scent is starting to rise. Because hell can smell your glow up. And they want to recontaminate the aroma before the angels are fully released. Don't fall for it. Don't mask your scent with what you are already delivered from. You're too close. Chosen one, you're not walking alone anymore. You've been scented for assistance. The air around you smells different now. The realm of the spirit knows it. Heaven is moving because your fragrance is undeniable. Angels that were sleeping are now surrounding you, and they're waiting for your next instruction. So walk like you're guarded. Pray like you're heard. Move like you've been scented for victory. You've felt the warfare rising, haven't you? The strange resistance, the sudden chaos, the irrational emotions from people close to you. It's not just life, it's not just stress, it's spiritual, and it's specific. Chosen one, demons can smell your deliverance before it even manifests. They catch the scent before you see the shift. That's why they've been circling. That's why the distractions intensified. It's because something in your atmosphere has changed. Your scent has shifted. And hell knows freedom is near. You don't need to announce your breakthrough. The realm of darkness already picked up on it. Your scent betrayed you in the best way possible. The layers of healing you've stepped into, they released a new fragrance. The soul ties you broke. That rupture released smoke. The secret forgiveness you chose when no one was watching, that was incense rising. Every moment you said no to bondage and yes to truth, your aroma shifted again. And now, demons that once sat comfortably in your presence are getting nervous because the atmosphere that once welcomed them is being replaced by one that repels them. Mark 5:6-7 shows us this clearly. A man possessed by a legion of demons ran to Jesus and cried out, "What do you want with me, Son of the Most High God?" Jesus hadn't said a word yet, but the demons already knew. They smelled the authority. They sensed the eviction. That's what's happening to you right now. The spirits that once hid in your life, in your bloodline, in your patterns, they're starting to panic because your deliverance is getting too close, and they know once your freedom hits the surface, they're out. That's why you've been feeling strange emotional surges, old habits trying to resurface, random arguments erupting, unprovoked criticism. It's not your imagination. It's the last attempt of unclean spirits trying to hold on. They're hoping you'll doubt yourself, that you'll feel shame, that you'll retreat just long enough for them to regain ground. But they're failing, because your scent is already announcing what's next. Liberation. Chosen one, deliverance isn't just an event, it's a scent. You've been giving off the fragrance of someone who's no longer available for bondage, someone who's been marked for holiness, someone who's about to walk into territory that was once off limits. And that's why hell is loud right now, because it's losing its grip. So hold your ground, worship anyway, speak the word anyway, smile anyway, because every act of obedience is incense, every moment of faith is smoke, and every breath you take in alignment is declaring to the spirit realm, "I'm almost free." And once that final layer lifts, you won't just be delivered, you'll be dangerous. There are things poured over your life that you never saw, oils that touched your spirit while you slept, anointings released while you were weeping. Heaven didn't wait for a church service or a crowd to pour them. It waited for your surrender. Chosen one, you have been oiled in secret. And every time you broke in silence, every time you prayed through the pain, every time you said yes while your voice was shaking, another layer of oil was poured. Not the kind that fades, not the kind that impresses, the kind that lingers, the kind that smells like glory. You think your power came from personality, but it came from being pressed. Heaven watched you suffer and didn't leave. It watched you walk through loss and still choose love. And in those moments, angels poured oil, oil of survival, oil of wisdom, oil of purity, oil that couldn't be bought, only earned in the dark. And now that oil is seeping through your scent. That's why people can't explain why they trust you. That's why rooms shift when you speak. Your fragrance has layers. Each one tells a story about what you overcame. Psalm 23 verse 5 says, "You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows." That means heaven didn't just pour. It poured with intention. The oil was never just for comfort, it was for activation. It was to mark you for battles most people couldn't survive. And you didn't just survive, you carried the scent of triumph out of the fire. There are oils on you that angels recognize. They smell like endurance, like intercession, like obedience under pressure. And those oils are why hell can't touch you the same anymore. But listen closely. Oil doesn't just protect, it attracts. It's why doors are opening now, why divine appointments are showing up unannounced, why people in power suddenly notice you. Your oil is speaking louder than your bio. You're not chasing visibility. You've been scented with visibility. You're not striving for favor. You've been marked with oil that demands it. And the world is finally catching up to what heaven already poured. Still, don't forget, this oil came with a price. And because of that, not everyone deserves access to it. Guard your oil. Protect your scent. Some people want proximity to your glow, but haven't earned access to your garden. And what heaven poured over you wasn't cheap. It was sacred. It was survival turned into scent. Pain turned into power. Suffering turned into sweetness. Chosen one, You smell like someone heaven has trusted with more than most. And the oils that saturate your life are not accidental. They are prophetic proof that your life was never ordinary. It was an altar. And now the world is about to breathe in what only surrender could release. You didn't know it, but your prayers left a scent behind. Every whispered, "God, help me." Every tear-soaked, "I don't know how to keep going." Every groan too deep for words. It all released something. A fragrance. A holy residue. You thought you were just surviving the moment, just hoping to make it through the night. But the realm of the Spirit recorded it all, and your prayers became incense that lingered long after you got up off the floor. Chosen one, the reason some places feel sacred when you walk into them is because you made them that way. You left the smell of prayer behind. Revelation 5:8 says, "The prayers of the saints rise before God like bowls of incense." That's not metaphor, that's mechanics. The spiritual realm is built on scent, and your prayer life has changed atmospheres in ways your mouth never could. You weren't just venting, you were scenting the future, marking the moment, saturating the space with fragrance that even angels pause to recognize. That's why some rooms feel different when you return. That's why certain people can't forget you. Your scent of intercession stayed behind, and it still speaks. Your prayers didn't vanish. They hovered. They wrapped themselves around your children, your home, your decisions. They traveled ahead of you, coating doorways you haven't yet walked through. That's why some attacks failed before you even saw them, because your past prayers had already left a warning in the air. Your enemies walked into a room that smelled like surrender, like warfare, like, "Don't touch this one. They're covered." And now, you're starting to notice it. People saying they felt something different after being in your presence. Loved ones finding peace without knowing why. Environments shifting the moment you walk in. That's not personality, that's leftover incense. And the beautiful part? You don't need to force it. You just need to keep living surrendered. Keep choosing the secret place. Because every time you pray, not perform, but truly pray, your scent intensifies. But understand, the enemy smells it too. That's why distraction has increased. That's why your focus has been under fire. Because he knows that when you pray, you perfume the battlefield. You make the fight unfair. You bring heaven close. And hell hates the smell of someone who knows how to touch the throne. Chosen one, you are drenched in incense. Your past prayers are still working, still protecting, still opening things, still breaking things. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. Sometimes all it takes is your presence in a room that remembers what you prayed, and the atmosphere will shift again. You smell like someone who's wrestled with God and won. And everywhere you go, the leftover scent of your prayers is announcing, "Heaven passed through here." You've been catching strange scents lately, haven't you? Moments where something in the air shifts and no one else notices. A smell that's not physical but undeniable. Sweetness out of nowhere. Rot in clean places. Smoke when there's no fire. You stop, you sniff, you question yourself. But let me tell you something, chosen one. It's not your imagination. It's your sensitivity. Your spiritual nose has been awakened. You've been marked by God to smell what others can't. Because your discernment doesn't start in your mind, it starts in your spirit. The Bible says in Isaiah 11:3, "He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes, or decide by what he hears with his ears, but with righteousness he will judge." That's what's happening to you. God has heightened your senses. You're not just seeing and hearing, you're sensing, you're smelling atmospheres. And that scent is data. It's intel from the spirit realm. Sometimes you're picking up on warfare before it starts. Other times you're detecting angels drawing near. Either way, you're not wrong. You're being shown the invisible through fragrance. That's why you walk into rooms and feel unsettled without cause. Why someone hugs you and you feel a stench even when they smell clean. Why you cry in a place that seems peaceful. It's not the environment, it's the spirit behind it. And your discernment is coming through your scent. God is training you to trust it, because your nose knows what your emotions haven't caught up to yet. The enemy operates in disguise, but your senses bypass his masks. This is why your atmosphere matters more now than ever. Because once God activates your ability to smell in the spirit, you also become more sensitive to what doesn't belong. You can't tolerate certain music anymore. Certain conversations now make your stomach turn. Certain environments feel like they stink even if no one else notices. That's not snobbery. That's scent-based discernment. You're picking up on residue others have grown numb to. And while this gift may feel heavy, it's protection. It's a shield. It's your early warning system. You'll smell manipulation before it becomes action. You'll detect the stale air of control before the words are spoken. You'll catch the fresh oil of favor before the opportunity arrives. Chosen one, you've been given a supernatural filter, and it will preserve you if you learn to trust it. So don't dismiss the scents. Don't explain them away. Lean in. Ask the Spirit what He's showing you, because the smell is never just a smell. It's a message. And the more you respond, the sharper your sense will grow. You're not crazy. You're called. You smell what others can't, because you're walking where others won't. You smell like something hell can't counterfeit. Forgiveness, not just spoken, but lived, not just mouthed, but manifested. Chosen one. Every time you release someone who didn't deserve it, heaven anointed you with a scent hell can't understand. It smells like mercy. It smells like freedom. It smells like someone who chose peace over pride and healing over hatred. That kind of scent doesn't come from easy choices. It comes from the crushing, from betrayal, from pain that should have hardened you but didn't. You didn't just let people go. You let go of the right to hate them. And in doing so, you became a vessel that smelled like heaven. The Bible says in Ephesians 5:2, "Walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God." That means forgiveness carries a smell. And when you forgive, you don't just break chains, you release fragrance. That's why some people who hurt you can't forget you. That's why their spirit is still stirred when they hear your name. You didn't curse them. You covered them. You walked away fragrant. And that aroma clings to their memory, even if their ego won't admit it. Forgiveness shifts your scent. It purifies it. It removes the spiritual toxins of bitterness, rage, and revenge. And once those are gone, what's left is rare. Peace that smells like glory. That's why you felt lighter, why your presence has felt cleaner. You didn't just release them, you released the residue. And in that release, your spiritual frequency became clearer. You smell different now. The air around you is changing because forgiveness has made room for oil. And here's the secret. People can sense it. They don't know what to call it, but they know they feel safer with you. They know something about you feels like a second chance. That's because you carry the scent of grace, not the kind that excuses behavior, but the kind that refuses to be owned by it. You're walking proof that it's possible to be wounded and still smell like worship. This is also why some can't stay around you anymore. Your scent reminds them of what they refuse to release. You smell like what they're still clinging to. And that kind of conviction is uncomfortable. But don't dim your scent to make them stay. Your fragrance is an invitation, not a negotiation. If they're not ready to smell like freedom, they'll distance themselves. Let them. Chosen one, forgiveness didn't make you weak, it made you fragrant. You're drenched in an aroma only the surrendered can carry. And the world may not always know how to handle it, but heaven does. You smell like someone who's been kissed by mercy and coated in glory. And that scent is opening doors that vengeance never could. You thought you were forgotten, looked over, left behind. But the truth is, you were hidden, not rejected, sheltered, not dismissed. Chosen one, heaven tucked you away so your scent could mature. Because premature exposure would have released an aroma not yet ready for warfare, not yet ready for weight, not yet able to carry glory without crumbling under attention. God hid you in the quiet, the unseen, the overlooked, so your fragrance could fully form. Like wine in a cellar, like oil in a press, like incense steeping in the dark, you were developing. The hiding was holy. The silence was strategy. Every moment you thought was delay was actually divine preservation. Because spiritual scent is fragile when it's first forming. It can be contaminated by ego, diluted by applause, extinguished by counterfeit platforms. And God loved you too much to let the world smell you before you were ready. Isaiah 49 verse 2 says, "He made me into a polished arrow and concealed me in his quiver." That's you. You were sharpened in secret, oiled in obscurity, not because you were unqualified, but because you were too precious to be rushed. And now your scent is different, stronger, sharper, not manufactured, not mimicked, mature. The kind of scent that doesn't just shift rooms, it changes atmospheres. The kind that triggers memory in angels and fear in demons. While others were rushing to be seen, you were surrendering in the shadows. And because of that, your oil is pure, your fragrance is concentrated. You don't have to force anything. The right people, the right doors, the right alignments are being drawn to your scent, not your striving. What's coming to you now isn't chasing the version of you that was hidden. It's responding to the one who's been steeped in obedience. And understand this, people who once ignored you will now say they sense something different. They'll try to reconnect, try to reattach. But you'll know, not by words, but by scent. Their fragrance won't match anymore. Because while you were hidden, you grew, you healed, you were refined. And that process gave your spirit a scent that only the mature can walk beside. Don't mourn the hiding. Celebrate it. Thank God he didn't let you be seen before the oil was ready, that he protected your frequency from being polluted by premature platforms. You were always meant to be a fragrance that lasted, not a trend that faded. Chosen one, the time of hiding is ending. Your scent is rising, and the world is about to encounter the matured version of you, the one heaven spent years perfecting in secret. You made it through the fire and didn't come out smelling like smoke. You survived betrayal, loss, confusion, and delay. And instead of reeking of bitterness, you radiate something holy. Chosen one, this is what all the crushing was for. This is what the hiding, the testing, the pressing was meant to produce. Now you smell like glory, not just healing, not just purity, glory. That rare scent only found on those who've walked through the valley of death and still chose to worship. You're not just different, you're divine. The atmosphere knows it. People pause around you, unsure of what they're sensing, but deeply moved. It's not your voice, not your clothes, not your posture, it's your presence. More specifically, it's your scent. The spiritual fragrance of someone who's been kissed by God and survived what should have buried them. And now, you don't even have to announce who you are. Your glory speaks for you. Shion. Exodus 34:29 says, Moses did not know that the skin of his face shone because he had been talking with God. That's you now. You don't even realize the shift, but everything around you does. Your scent has matured, it has thickened, it has memory, power, and prophecy woven into it. The rooms that once ignored you are now making space. The The people who once resisted you are now drawn in, because the glory on you is unmistakable, and it cannot be faked. But don't let it make you arrogant. Let it make you anchored, because this scent is not for decoration, it's for assignment. God didn't perfume you with glory just so you could be admired. He scented you so you could be sent into dark places, into hurting spaces, into rooms that forgot what heaven smells like. And when you arrive, you won't need a microphone. You won't need to prove anything. You'll just breathe, and the fragrance will shift the atmosphere. This is why the warfare came. This is why the enemy tried to defile you, distract you, and delay you. He could smell this moment coming. He could smell your glory forming in the shadows. He knew that if you ever made it to this chapter, if you ever healed, forgave, aligned, and obeyed, you'd become dangerous to darkness, a living, breathing altar walking through the earth, a reminder that God's oil is still flowing, that holiness still has a scent, and now it's here, not next year, not someday, now. You don't smell like your past. You don't smell like pain. You don't smell like performance. You smell like glory, and everything in the spirit realm knows it. Chosen one, step forward. The fragrance of your life has become worship. You are heaven's incense in human form. Let the world inhale what survival, surrender, and sanctification smells like.
If you have come this far, it is crucial that you watch this next video here. But be warned, it is not for the faint of heart, for only the true chosen ones can handle this video. If you would like to also donate to help keep the channel going, our Buy Me a Coffee link will be in the description.